Is this in a good spot?
I'm feeling outdone over here.
You're really shy. I have a tendency to be shiny, Angie.
I like it.
You like the shine?
Yeah, but I didn't get the memo.
Sorry. All right, we're ready for our audio? Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Lauren Rachael Talk Show. I am with my special guest, Ange Mertens, who flew in from Houston tonight to be with us. So I'm so excited you're here. Hello.
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 Should we do the old-fashioned, boy, are my arms tired?
Right? I know. I know. I have not seen you. It's been, what, 4 or 5 years?
Yes.
When was the last time I saw you? 2018? 2019? 2019.
I don't actually know.
I think
it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Pre-COVID,
when the world was...
both of us being married.
Pre-both of us being married. A lot has happened.
Yeah,
a lot has happened. So I won't talk about this too much. I do want to say how we met because I think it's really cute. So you're one of my favorite people. And I met you during the Ms. America pageant, which is so funny to me that I actually did a beauty pageant. It was one of those like bucket list things for me. And I've never done one before. And I met you and I thought you were so much fun. And we were on the Queen Mary, which is the haunted Queen Mary, which for those who don't know what that is, it's a hotel and a museum in Long Beach, and I felt like we were on the Titanic. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I think that it's like the sister to the QE2 or whatever ships from England that came over.
Oh, neat.
So, but it's docked at Long Beach.
Yeah, it was so much
California.
Fun. Yeah, it felt a little spooky. I had some weird stuff happen with my room. Did you have anything weird happen with your?
I didn't, but I heard some of the girls that said that they were down by the.
My alarm clock was going off by itself at like 3:30 in the morning, which is like apparently a creepy hour as well. So I had a lot of that. Yeah, but my favorite memory with you from the pageant, because we both did it we'll go into that, but we both did it for other reasons. It wasn't like the pageant part. It was like the volunteering and community service. But we had that tea party thing we did. We had big hats on.
Which is so funny because I really dislike hats. I'm not the hat
You had
girl.
quite the hat.
I don't even wear baseball caps.
You looked so cute. Wasn't it like
so much fun.
This big
blue hat?
It was a big blue hat and you had a beautiful blue dress, and mine was like black and white. We both had these giant tea hats, and it was just super cute because we were on the Titanic, and then not Titanic. I don't on the Titanic. We're on the Queen Mary. That one sunk, or the Olympic. So I heard. But what was so funny about that? Remember we were taking pictures and we were posing, and I thought we were on like a vent or something, but we were on like the foghorn. And they set it off, and we went flying through the air and jumped in front of all these people. And we're all dressed up in these big hats and these gowns. And what was so funny is everybody saw it.
Well, yeah. So it's like the bar lunchroom.
Yes.
And everybody was looking outside, but we didn't think about that because it was kind of quiet when we went outside.
We couldn't see anybody from where we were anyway.
Jumped so high, and I was taking your picture, and
we were posing like we're
9
so cute
feet into the air. I swear. And so I'm dying laughing. I'm like bent over, dying laughing.
Yes.
And we go out back inside, and now the bar is full. What had been empty before,
and they're all laughing.
They're all laughing and saying, their great love of our performance.
Yeah, I'm not graceful, so this was a big thing for me. The whole process, and
you represented California well.
Thank you. I tried, as did you with Texas. So there you go. Right, beauty pageants are a good time. It's a whole thing. I don't know if you know this. I seem really girly and glamorous, but I'm not graceful, and I was totally a tomboy. So I had to hire a coach, Tracy Rogers. I had to hire a coach to teach me how to walk in the shoes and do all of the things, and it was, how to sit like this. And I did. I needed help. I needed help. It was a whole process. It was very much like Miss Congeniality.
Since then, actually, I've always been a choreographer.
Oh, well, that's why you did so well.
I didn't do beauty pageants either, and so like one when I was young.
Sure.
But I've been producing beauty pageants for the past few years for the Miss USA pageant system. Oh, wow. And so that's been kind of a fun thing.
That's so cool.
And so I teach them how to walk. I do their opening numbers.
I love that.
And stuff like that.
I need to find another one. They're very motivational.
But to have a coach is a totally normal thing. I mean, these
teenage
girls.
I felt kind of...
These teenage girls have coaches.
I was like, is this normal as an adult that I need help walking? And like, I was sending her a picture. She's like, no, don't wear that outfit. I was like, oh, really? I thought this was fine. Nope, don't wear that. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I love when they tell, because I've been doing fashion shows, producing them forever.
Oh, wow.
And so I've always taught women how to walk for a fashion show. But
I could have used you years ago.
Totally different thing.
Oh, it's a different thing.
Different way to walk.
Well, and then I went over the top and I did the biggest possible shoes. And that was not super smart because I'll be honest, like, they're essentially like a stripper shoe. They're like, but pageant girls wear a nude pump, not the clear pump. It's a nude pump. It's the same shoe. It's a different color. And I was really taking a gamble with the ankles. And I felt like I won because I made it down the stairs. So that alone.
I kind of was voting for the whole, like, have the captain or some military guy walk us down the stairs. I know. We had to walk downstairs. On the stage in formal gowns, and we will say we're on a boat, but it was docked. It's dry docked.
It still moved a little. I could feel it, and honestly, when I saw that they had stairs, and then the floor was like slick, like ice, and my heart just sank. And I was trying all these things to make my shoes sticky, like you spray them with hairspray, and you're like walking around outside. All these tricks that we do.
Yeah,
it was like.
There's a trick for everything.
I was just so excited that I made it down the stairs. I don't think I'll probably wear the orthopedic option next time. I'll just wear a full length gown and like Crocs. What do you think?
Well, I actually was nervous about the stairs,
and I don't know why we're doing this to ourselves.
I walk a lot, right? I think I can do stairs, but I was running and going shopping and getting the like chunkiest heel that I could find.
Yeah, that was a real experience. And I remember there was something weird going on with the boat where the restaurants were like not open and things were not available. I was freaking starving. There was no food, there was no snacks. I was like, great, so I'll lose weight right before the pageant. Perfect.
And then pass out.
I was close. I gotta tell you, that's why I ended up getting I didn't tell you this, but that's why I got sick after the pageant. I lost weight a little too fast. So it was this is so unhealthy. So this is not an advertisement. Don't do this to yourself. I think I lost about 25 pounds in 2 months. It was excessive weight. Fast. Yeah, I made it right off the stage and into the hospital, and I was in there for 3 weeks. So don't do that to your body because like organs start to shut down. I got like a blood clot, and then my lung was like a whole. Yeah, it wasn't a good look. So that was not glamorous, and don't do that to yourself because really it was supposed to be for the volunteering and the fun, and I did it to myself.
I spend about 80% of my life volunteering or giving back to my community, and so they have this presidential. Volunteerism award.
Yes, I remember that.
And that I wanted that.
Yes. Yeah, I was actually really excited I got that too. I should have framed it. I haven't framed mine. I need to do that. Yeah. I have it. And I have the medal and that was I liked that. I did some things with the Boys and Girls Club and I raised money for Toys for Tots, and then they have you should fly out for this because you travel a lot. That they have something called the Teddy Ball and the Bunny Ball, and that's in San Diego. And it raises money for the Children's Hospital. And people bring a giant stuffed animal, but it's like a black tie, and it's so much fun. And I would help sell raffle tickets, and it was the more glamorous volunteer work I could do. I wasn't picking up garbage, let's just say. Athena Fleming, now she's great. She like gets in there and like really, she does some of the tougher volunteer work.
I think that you kind of start in with the more
the fluffy
glamorous stuff, but I mean, we had a huge hurricane about 7 years ago in Houston, Hurricane Harvey. And,
yes, I remember.
I have pictures of the flooding in my front of my house up to my chest.
No,
to my chest. It was 53 inches of water in 3 days. And it's not just 53 inches. It comes in your house and goes up, so
scary.
There were people 8 feet under, had to leave their houses. It was the most awful thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
And after that, it really started making me think, wow, how can we try not to flood like this? How can we not do things like this?
Right.
And so one of the things was having to clean out the bayous and the ditches around our houses. And so I did.
That's so great.
It was like going, so then you get into so now we do the glamorous stuff, but let's get in there into the nitty gritty and do stuff that actually helps.
I was going to ask you, is it like an infrastructure issue?
Well, so, I went to this after Hurricane Harvey when I started getting interested. I went to this meeting to learn about flooding and different ways that you can mitigate flooding. And it was a guy, let's just say his name was John.
We're going to call him John.
He worked for the Houston Flood Prevention District.
Oh,
and he starts out his speech and he goes, "Hi, I'm John from the Houston Flood Prevention District, where we have no hope of preventing floods."
Was he wearing rain boots at the time?
No, but he was like going.
That would have been funnier.
That's right. But Houston is about 7 feet above sea level.
Oh, so, no.
It's just so low that you really can't prevent flooding.
Sure.
So,
it's like San Diego.
You can raise buildings
in Florida.
Raise buildings higher up.
Sure.
You can,
right.
Build roads higher up, and our road systems in Houston are floodways. So the water is supposed to push down the roadways and then drain as it goes along,
yes. Oh, it's a lot.
But it's a place that's always going to flood.
Oh.
So we just have to try and
it's nice
do
as
little as possible.
You got in there and helped out, though. Like it's
but
pageant with a purpose is what we call it.
Now I do have to say, what is this? They say no good deed goes unpunished.
Right.
So, I was in this place called Dickinson Bayou, which is right next to my city, which I live in, is League City. And so I was worried about alligators and snakes.
Oh, yeah, of course.
In the bayou, right? So I had these tall boots that, for the alligators and the snakes. And so we're in there cleaning out ditches. We found all kinds of things, couches, a lot of tires everywhere.
Oh, they flew off cars and onto the sides.
I don't know if they were in people's yards and they get out, or do people just dump them,
Weird.
But they, because now there's like a fee to dump your tires. So maybe they throw them in the ditch.
No.
I don't know.
It's not helping our situation, right? Yeah.
So just all kinds of stuff that you find in the ditch.
Sure.
So anyway, so I'm in there and cleaning out the ditches, and I don't think about it, but it's August. It's hot.
Oh,
so we're wearing short sleeves and all that. I got poison ivy so bad.
Oh, no. And I was going to say mosquito bites too, right? I'll bet.
Well, you know what? Mosquitoes don't like me.
So, they love me.
They do.
Oh, you should travel with me. I'll just take them all for you.
Yeah. I will send them that way because they don't like my blood. But red ants in Houston.
Red ants and poison ivy.
But it was so funny because I was like, it never even dawned on me about poison
you're digging through. Well, did you get it? Like, were you touching your face and everything too? Did you get it everywhere?
Well, mostly got it on my
rub your eyes. Oh God! You wake up
that would be awful.
Like that movie Hitch. You're like blinded. Oh no,
that's awful. But,
yeah. So, that sounds like my luck. That's I give
so
you.
So you'll graduate someday from the glamour to the hard work.
Well, you're not really selling me on it. I don't know. I might stick with the stuffed animals.
Yeah, that's right.
That was a tough day.
And they don't bite. Those stuffed animals, they don't bite.
I jumped in a pile of them.
Stuffed spiders, they don't bite.
Oh God,
stuffed snakes.
No, and I went to college in Georgia, and we used to do this thing where we would go tubing down the Chattahoochee River, and I was all for it until I heard that there were snakes in the water. I thought they just kind of stay on the sides. No, they'll bite you right in the butt.
Yeah, snakes swim.
Yeah, I'm not into it. I don't like anything that can bite me that I don't know is coming. Like, you know what I mean?
Just fight them back.
Right.
It's fine. They don't like that.
Yeah, not a camper. I'm sure you've heard. Right? Some people eat them down south. Are you one of those people? The reptiles?
I've never had. People eat snake all the time, but no, I haven't. I have had alligator.
Really? Mm-hmm. I think I asked somebody else about this. What does it taste like? Does it taste like chicken? It does taste like chicken. So it's true?
So I had alligator in Louisiana, in New Orleans. And it's really the sauce that the chef makes with it that really makes it
have a flavor.
Whether it's good or not. So it's really kind of the
So it's
sauce,
like a white meat, like chicken. Like if someone gave it to you and they said it was chicken, would you know that it wasn't?
I don't think so. No.
Really?
I'm shocked at how they always say things taste like chicken, but I think it's just kind of
this actually does.
Kind of a nondescript taste.
How interesting. Somebody gave me venison once, which is deer meat, and it was a mean prank because I don't anything cute and furry. I feel bad. Yeah. Chickens I don't feel as bad, but I'm very skeptical when I go to any kind of foreign restaurant, whatever. I'm very clear on what's on the plate, but I have to be careful. Like Hawaii, they're big into the frog legs and stuff.
Venison is kind of gamey, right?
Yes.
So it is a different taste.
It sure was.
My daughter, my youngest one, Candace, my old boyfriend would take care of her when I flew sometimes, and so he made her stew one night.
Oh,
and she likes like venison, and she's good with that kind of stuff.
Was it rabbit?
But no.
Oh,
squirrel.
Oh, that's worse. I feel like it's worse.
He made her squirrel stew, and
she
ate it. I think he shot them in the backyard.
Wow.
And she calls me and she's like,
he's rugged.
He made me eat squirrel.
What a rugged man you had.
So mad.
Wow.
She was so mad. But But then she didn't say it was gross.
Did you meet him on a camping trip or anything? Because I have a no camping policy for this reason. This is what happens.
Oh,
it trickles.
I haven't eaten anything weird on the camping trip. So
s'mores are fine.
S'mores I can do.
Those are safe.
And
my
parents used to take us camping, but we brought food.
Okay.
We did.
Yeah.
Maybe caught fish before.
Okay. Camping. I did that once. I felt bad for the fish. It looked painful. It just looked, I felt bad. It was a good sized fish. I felt bad for it though. And I was like, oh, so I put it back. And they're like, what are you doing? I threw it back. I was like, I'm sorry. We're not taking you ever again on this trip.
You're not going to be able to eat any food.
I know. Maybe it's a good thing. We'll see what happens.
Vegetarian.
We'll see what happens. I'll live on berries, and my luck, I'll eat something that's poisonous. Well, and you get to travel quite a bit. That's you have many hats, and one of which I think is so glamorous and so cool. And I wish that maybe I had gone into this industry, but you've worked for the airlines for forever.
28 years.
It's amazing. You look.
And I'm 29, so it's fabulous how they let us start at 1. It's
you look like it. You look great, and that's just so amazing. My mom wanted to be a flight attendant, and I think this was like 1967 or 68. And I guess something happened. My grandfather wouldn't let her go, but she did the whole training and this.
Oh,
and
really?
She taught me their little they had specific workouts and stuff. Like you were expected, to look like you. And nowadays, I don't mean to be rude, but they don't have the same criteria these days. But you are authentic glam. I got to tell you.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, it's great. But
they did have a height weight restriction when I very first started flying.
Sure. Yeah.
And then I think. One of what they call legacy carriers, like Delta or whatever.
Right.
They had a flight attendant that sued for discrimination.
And that's what happened.
Restriction.
And now,
so none of the airlines have
flying out of Georgia. I got to tell you, they're not so glam and not so nice. I got snapped at once. So I was like, all right, I just wanted a blanket, lady. Like, relax. It was the whole thing.
They do own Atlanta.
Yes. Well, yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. You are trained in all. You were telling me in the car. You're trained in all these emergency services. So it's not what people probably think. I mean, it seems like such a glamorous job because part of it is, but there's a lot you need to know.
I'm not sure where the glamour part came in.
Right.
I do think
the movies probably
back in the day they had to be beautiful.
Yes.
Like in the 50s and 60s. You couldn't be over 36 years old. You had to be at least 5'6" and weigh less than 120 pounds.
Less than 120 pounds at 5'6"?
Yeah.
Oh, that's never happening. That was me when I was 6.
When I was 6, yes, exactly. No, wow. But I mean, it was very.
So not a lot of Italian flight attendants
be married or have children, or it was
really
very strict back in in the 50s and 60s. Well, and 70s and up to the. I mean, I think I started working in 95, and there was a height weight restriction.
Wow.
Well, but not so much. You didn't.
I think they should. I mean, and it's not for the look. It's because you're flying, and there's a weight limit for the plane, and I think that's not unreasonable.
Well, that's true, and you also have to be able to
handle things in an emergency.
Well, handle an emergency evacuation and crawl out of a window. It's also very physical.
Yes,
you have to help people.
So they should have probably not changed that because it was a safety thing.
But I mean, being a bigger girl, like strength-wise, is fine.
I could throw some people around, but I don't know if I can get this butt out a window. Shimmy a little bit to pop out the window. I'm going down the slide.
Even though they don't have the height weight restriction anymore, they still make you crawl out of a window of a plane size. So because that is a prerequisite for the job, But I think that people don't think about. You think about the service.
Right.
And maybe where we fly and how fun it is to go internationally and that kind of stuff. I mean, flight attendants are first responders. I mean, if there is a fire on a plane or a baby to be delivered or somebody has a heart attack or a stroke, your flight attendants are your first responders. That's
great. I love that. I love hearing that because as someone that works in healthcare, I like to know that you are available and I can just sip my wine and just pretend that everything is fine because you've got it.
Right. And you'll hear us paging, like if there's an emergency, we'll page for medical assistance.
I'm supposed to.
But if there is no medical assistance,
I was kidding.
If there is no medical assistance,
you have to do it.
Then we are We are the first line of defense. But so medical, but if there's a fire, I am the one fighting it. And I've had a fire on the plane before.
Really?
So,
what happened? Are you allowed to say?
Yeah, there was a fire in the light ballast of the plane. So actually, in the lighting of the plane.
Was it an electrical thing?
So an electrical fire.
How scary.
But you kind of check out the bathroom and make sure, just like any fire that you have at your home or anything, you should always fill.
Was the alarm just going off on the plane?
No, the alarm wasn't going off the plane when you saw smoke. The cabin filled with smoke. Oh, and so like I said, so just like at your home, if you smell smoke or think there's a fire, fill doors with the back of your hand because you don't want to burn the fronts of your hand. The back of your hands are less sensitive. And so we do that, and then open the door to a bathroom, and then we, even if we don't see a fire, we'll extinguish the because the biggest thing on a plane that causes fires is people smoking. Even though you haven't been able to smoke on a plane for
decades,
at least 30 years.
They were welded shut when I was a kid. And I think that was in the 80s. So they had ashtrays still in the armrest because they were still using the same plane, so they just welded them shut. Yeah. So like, none for you.
Well, but so people still try and smoke on the plane. Really? And there are, just for future reference, there are alarms in the bathroom. So when you try and do that, the alarms
We're going to know.
We're going to know.
We're going to know.
But plus, it's very dangerous. So don't do it.
Right.
But so people will throw it into the trash cans, maybe.
How dumb.
And then, or just put the ashes out and not realize that in the paper, then it'll
ignite.
So
that's flammable stuff.
That's the first place we look.
Oh my God. So with your fire that you had, were you mid-trip, or when was that?
Yeah, actually we were flying over San Diego.
Oh God.
And
the scariest airport to land in, so I hear. Although, we're flying over buildings next to water, and it's like a really short runway, right? So
it is.
I heard it's like the top 5 scary.
Burbank,
Yeah, that's tiny too. So so you were flying to San Diego?
No, we were just flying over San Diego.
Over it,
and kind of going up the coast of California.
Okay.
And because at first there had been fires in the area, and we thought maybe we smelt smoke that was coming in from outside. That was the first thought.
No. Oh, that's so scary. But it sounds like you can stay really calm in these situations.
Well, it's funny. You just never know what you'll do.
Wow.
But
right.
But we're trained really well, and
absolutely.
And so it just kind of kicks in. It kicks in what.
Do they do emergency drills with like a fake plane, or how do they get you ready for this?
So when you train initially, you have 5 weeks of training, or I had 5 weeks of training. It changes, and they have a fake plane that you train in.
Great.
It has the emergency slide, so you learn how to do that.
Okay.
And
you do like a little pose. I've seen it. Yeah.
Cross your arms, jump.
Yeah.
So
you wait first.
Part of the announcement. Yeah. And there's a little twinkle.
It makes a ting sound. Oh, cute.
But so you train for every scenario that they can think of to train you in.
Wow.
You do CPR drills. You learn how to deliver.
You never know. I mean, you've got a couple hundred people, and all stages of life, anything can happen. And that's the thing I was going to talk to you about, and I hope you don't mind. But it's been a topic of my stand-up comedy lately. What is going on with passengers on the planes lately? Are people just going buck wild, or what has happened? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Well, absolutely. I think during COVID, our whole country went a little bit crazy. Right. I don't know if it was staying at home and being away from everybody, and then you put them on a small tube that is all locked up, and it's like a caged animal,
right?
And I think that just added to people's anxieties, and
there's less restriction.
That's just my professional opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's less restrictions now, but people are like, if you're sick to your stomach, like, I'm not going to jump on a plane, or I'm at least going to stop by the gift shop, take some Imodium, a little Pepcid. If I'm sick, I'm not going to just risk it and fly.
Well, I think that obviously during COVID, and especially when we were wearing masks,
right?
I was not a fan. Didn't like that.
Yeah, I was not a fan, but I was very polite.
Well,
people have gone crazy.
I think the hardest part as a flight attendant was that we were enforcing a federal mandate.
It's not fun,
right? It wasn't my rule. I was always like, call your president, talk to your congressman.
Yeah. I'm not enjoying this either.
Yell at me.
Yeah, I'm not enjoying this either. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was like going, and I'm not speaking for any airline, but I work for a funny airline, and I work for it because my personality fits it.
Totally.
And so I still joked and just tried to make everything be as normal as possible.
Yeah.
But nothing was normal.
Yeah.
But I really think that it was just people were at home and they weren't around people. And then all of a sudden there's people and they're sitting next to you. And as the planes got more full, like at first we didn't have people sitting in the same row. Right. And then we didn't have people in the middle seat.
Now we're like sardines again.
Then we're back to everybody in every seat. And then people were like, don't. There was one lady who asked to see the man next to her, his COVID shot card.
You're like, you're not allowed to do that.
And we're like,
then don't travel, drive.
Yeah.
Like, if you're that person.
We're not even allowed to ask him for that. You certainly may not ask him for that.
That to me, that's the same person, I swear to God, that would complain at a comedy show. Don't go to a comedy show. Right. I might drop an F-bomb. Don't go to a comedy show if you're that sensitive. You know what I mean? It's like yeah. But I noticed it's been in the last couple of months, people have been getting sick on planes, acting really wild, yelling, climbing over seats, and it's like
going to the bathroom.
Right. And the other thing too, now maybe you're not, if you can't answer this, it's okay. But I thought that every plane had to have a marshal, but that's not the case anymore. See, and that made me feel better.
It never has been.
Oh,
they're random.
They're random.
They're random.
So you might have a marshal. So be good.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to pretty much expect that you either have a marshal or some kind of law enforcement agent on the plane.
Yeah.
Because if you do and you do something wrong, then
you're gonna get zip tied and tased and. Something's going to happen.
They won't do that. We will.
Right. I love that. Are you laughing?
Now, my airline doesn't allow you to tape them to the seat.
Okay.
Which has happened on other airlines.
But you're a Texas gal,
we do have zip tie handcuffs on
love
the planes. That. So, I mean, we always have for,
Have you had a situation ever where someone went a little kooky and you had to do something on a flight?
I have.
Really?
And I usually fly at the front of the plane. I don't know if you could tell I like to talk. And so I'm technically the one talking at the front of the plane.
Sure.
And I also like to see who's coming on the plane and kind of just figure out who can help me and those kinds of things. So I don't like being in the back and not knowing.
So you're looking at people, you're kind of seeing who's there, what's going on, and kind of assessing the passengers, right? Because you need to pay attention, not just for security reasons, but for emergencies and things like that.
Right. Just think about it. In an emergency, there's 3 or 4 flight attendants on our planes. Mm-hmm. And we deal in an evacuation in seconds, mm-hmm. right? So let's say in 34 seconds, I want to get 143 people off of the plane.
Wow.
Right. So other people are probably going to have to help me. What if there's wheelchair passengers, incapacitated passengers, blind passengers, something that we're going to need to have help with? I might have to say, you take them, whatever. Right. And so I'm looking for those people who could. What if somebody had to pick up somebody that, needed to? Right. I'm looking for a big guy that would help me. And, so sometimes when your flight attendant is making eye contact or small talk with you,
that looks sturdy.
To see how engaged you are, right?
Right.
Is he the kind of person that's going to jump in and help? Or
I'm that person.
Yeah.
I offered to be a base during cheerleading. I was like, I can launch some people, just like, right, with flair. Do it with flair, but I'm strong.
Exactly.
So
you put a little. My sister, I thought it was the funniest thing. So my sister and I are total opposites. We are best friends. She's the greatest person I know.
She's a quiet book reader.
She is she is an accountant.
Okay.
And she's the CFO of a company now. So she's very important, very poised.
Less bubbly.
And she's a talker too, but she as a child was very shy. Uh-huh. And there's a picture that is totally just a statement of our family at my grandmother's house. And my mom and dad are like, arm in arm, and my brother's like on the ground like a football player with his knee up, My sister has a little kitten in her arm and she's standing like this, just all inside herself, and I have a tutu on and I'm like this.
I have a lot of pictures like that too. That's why we're friends.
So she always says, Angie came out with a ta-da.
That's you. That would be great. That would be a great middle name for you, Angie ta-da.
Ta-da.
I love that. Very cool.
But I have no idea why we went down that pathway.
That's fun. That's really fun.
Not the quiet person. But on a plane, so your flight attendant will be assessing who can help her or him in an evacuation.
Yes, a lot. Well, and I noticed the last several trips I've taken, I've had more male flight attendants. I don't know if that's of any reason for that. It's just the way it is, or if it's on purpose so that they can help with people getting a little weird. I don't know, but there's been a lot of guys.
So there's no rhyme or reason to who's on your aircraft as far as flight attendants. Everything is about seniority in the airline industry.
Okay.
So you bid by seniority. You bid every month, and so that can be.
And what does that mean? Try to get certain flights?
So yeah, the airline sets up a month worth of flights, and they're on different lines, we call them, right?
Okay.
And so it'll be 4 weeks worth of flights, usually 3 days on, 4 days off is kind of our general.
Cool.
And so say people want to go see their family or special places while they're flying.
Or come to see me for a talk show.
That's
I love this.
They want to do Phoenix. So
that's cool.
They would be what we call overnight bidders.
Okay.
Right? So they bid for their overnights, where they're going to stay. Or I'm a day off bidder because, like we said, I do a lot of charity and community service stuff. And so I want to be home for certain events. So I don't really care where I go. I just want to be home for certain days.
Oh, okay.
And then some people are like AM and PM,
real picky on stuff.
Right? I bid nights. I'm not a morning person. So.
And your husband is a pilot, correct?
Yes.
Now
we're very cliche.
I love that. No, I think it's so
for
cool.
1 whole year.
It's so cute. I love it. And then obviously did you meet through work?
We did. You know what's funny? We actually went to the same high school, but we didn't know each other.
How cute is that? That's really cool. Well, I saw these glamorous pictures. Did you go to Paris together?
We did for our first anniversary in October.
I love that. There's the adorable pictures in front of the Eiffel Tower, and I just loved that. And I was super jealous. And I was like, see, I should have gone into air travel. Do you get to choose when you get to fly together at all? They let you do that?
Yeah, we can fly together.
That's so cool.
Our airline is the most nepotistic airline in the world.
Oh,
There's
really?
Mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles.
I love that
all fly. Some of them, like there's 5 sisters that all work at our airline, and
will they do flights together?
They can, yeah.
How cute!
And husbands and wives sometimes.
That's very cool. I think it's nice.
But we have not flown together a whole lot.
Really? Okay.
But so our anniversary was in October, and we flew 3 different trips together in October.
Nice.
After we go back from Paris, and we thought, well, this would be fun. Let's just keep going.
That's cool. Very fun.
So, but it's rare to get flight attendants and pilots that have the same schedule, because I think back in the day there was a lot of flight attendants and pilots got married. Yeah. And then the wives started to not want the young flight attendants to be flying with their husband.
Oh.
So we kind of petitioned to get the schedule separated. So we don't, so funny. Because they used to fly together a whole month.
Oh, how funny.
But now you might have a few flights together.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Well, you do a lot. You wear many hats. So you're also, which I saw online, and I've been following your journey. You've kind of dabbled in the political arena, and I'm so proud of you for that. So tell me a little bit more about the position that you're running for.
Well, I first like to say I don't want to have anything to do with politics.
Okay.
But I live in a small town. Well, it's about 120,000 now, but a small town that I love, and I love everything about it. And so I'm pretty much a community servant, and I've been, doing volunteer work, trying to help the citizens.
You've always done that. That's great.
In need for 22 years.
Yeah.
But after Hurricane Harvey, like I said, it kind of got me interested in ways we could, help the flooding mitigation, help getting traffic moving, and just build our city better for being prepared for future flooding, which is kind of how I first got kind of interested in running for city council. So I'm running for city council in League City, which is a suburb of Houston. It kind of surrounds NASA. So Johnson Space Center is on the other side of the lake from us.
Very cool.
And, so we have a lot of technology down there. The greatest scientists in the world live in our neighborhoods. Cool. I grew up in the city where the astronauts all lived.
So, how fun.
So back in the 70s, when I moved to Clear Lake was that city. And, kind of in the heyday of the space program. So it was kind of an exciting, fun place. My dad worked at NASA. And
cool. I did some projects for them also, actually. So we have that in common. He worked with Grumman Aerospace. And they contracted him. So with the position you're running for, what's something that you would like your community to know about you? So, why you're best suited for the job. I love you and adore you, so I'd obviously vote for you if I could. But
well, thank you. Just move on in.
Right?
Well, I think that there's a lot of people that run for city council because they have one main topic that they're interested in.
Okay.
They're interested in their job and getting through a contract or something that's just their one issue. But I'm pretty well rounded in the issues because I've been working with the city for so long. I sit on our parks board. I'm on the I'm co-chairman of League City Proud. We put on the largest event in our county, which was just last weekend, Holiday in the Park.
Oh, I saw that. I was here like, I've got like 200 booths I'm managing right now. Can I get back to you? I was like, oh, no problem. Sounds like you're having fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It turned out well?
Yeah, we had, so we have a 3-day event, 134 booths that we have for vendors, and we put on 4 parades. We put on a children's parade, a pet parade, a special needs parade.
Oh, nice.
Which was new this year, which was beautiful. And then we put on what we call the Grand Night Parade. Oh. And about 27,000 to 30,000 people come through our small town for the event.
Very nice.
And I've emceed the event for a long time, but I've been co-chairman for about 4 years and on the board for about 20.
Very cool.
So
that's a lot of logistics to have multiple nights. Multiple parades. We've been in parades. Like that's
exactly.
It's a lot. It goes into one parade, but you're doing 4.
We're doing 4.
Wow.
So that's a big event, and I think that people think of me kind of like that. I do MC. I used to be a reporter or an anchor, and so that's kind of what they think me of as the MC of the events, or I produce galas, or we talked about I produce beauty pageants or fashion shows or whatever. And all of those are charity organizations.
Right.
So that is me giving back to my community. And so, they see me doing a lot of, we said ball gowns.
The glamorous side of things, but you're doing it for a reason.
Right.
To raise money or to help resolve an issue. And that's important.
Help people in need in some way or another. And so that's when I said that, obviously I do both. I do the glamorous side of it. I say, yes, I wear the ball gowns, but that's my uniform that I'm wearing when I'm working for the people in need in League City and trying to help someone. But I'm also in the ditches, dinging them out and doing this stuff. So I'm not afraid of hard work. And I'm kind of a problem solver. If you come to me and you say there's a family in need, then the next day that family is going to have clothes or food or whatever it is. We're going to have a group getting together to do it. Or if it's something as big as hurricane victims. After Harvey, our mayor and a core group of individuals that they gathered together put together an emergency distribution center because there was a kid that had gone to our local high school but lived in Oklahoma and said, we know you can't get, groceries and food and necessities right now. So I have an 18-wheeler coming from Oklahoma. What can I do with it? And we're like, oh, wow. Well, I don't know, so we had this empty Kroger building, a grocery store that had moved. And so the mayor got that opened up, and then we got together putting tables, chairs, and so it is a group of volunteers that I've been a part of for a lot of organizations. It's also the same people that do Holiday in the Park that did that distribution center. And so, come to us with any problem and we'll find a solution. And I think that's kind of what city council is, right? It's a city of people that need things done. I mean, it may be a road that they need built, or they have something that's really important to them. There's a pothole in their front yard and it's really causing a problem for them personally. Well, then you want to make sure that you're the kind of person that listens to them personally.
That's so good.
And so I think that that's what I offer the city is years and years of getting it done, and just a heart to really help the people in the city. And so
you're going to do great. I hope you win.
I appreciate it.
If hypothetically speaking, let's say that you are given the opportunity, how long is the duration of the position?
Okay, well, this is a special election because we had a city councilman that quit.
Okay.
And it's really only 9 months, and you'll have to run again. So then in November, then that is a 4-year.
Great.
So
I hope you get it. I think you'd be good at it. Yeah. Now I should ask you this: with the city where you live, do you also have an issue with tornadoes? Because Dallas does. There were signs everywhere, and I've been through a few actually in places I've lived. I lived in Georgia and in Utah, and I've lived through, and I was fine, but I had 3 separate tornadoes in my life.
Okay, well, they're terrifying.
Really scary.
There's
no plan. That's what I was thinking of the whole time we were talking. I'm like, you need to have a plan for emergencies. Like a lot of cities don't have that.
Right.
They just say get in your tub.
Of course, we do have a plan. I mentioned to you earlier that we have a city manager run city,
right? And
our mayor is kind of like another city councilman that he runs the meetings. But in an emergency, the mayor does become the emergency person that is in charge of the city. And they do have a plan for everything. We do have tornadoes, not quite as many as Dallas,
right?
But obviously, I mean, thunderstorms are we're a coastal city, so.
Right.
Galveston's 23 miles from us, and we have a lake that comes up from Galveston Bay that our city surrounds. And so we're a coastal city, and storms are just a part of the Texas coast. Right. And so thunderstorms, but
you have more hurricane stuff.
Well,
that's your big disaster concern.
They come off of thunderstorms as well, so we get a lot of those. But and hurricanes also make tornadoes.
Wow!
So just movement of air is a problem with anything. So but we do get tornadoes too.
Scary.
But just not quite as much as Dallas.
That's good.
So
and it's just funny to me because Texas has like some extreme weather, but there are a lot of flight hubs. Out of there, and so things are constantly like delayed or whatever. It's like a lot going. Whenever I've flown through Dallas, the flight was never the flight I signed up for. It's like, you said 7 p.m. We meant 7 a.m. Like, it's like, cool. I guess I'll just hang out here then.
So like American and Southwest, in Dallas, United and Southwest in Houston.
Right.
You do get a lot of.
For the weather,
headquartered areas there, and a lot of weather. That's a problem,
right?
But we try and make up for.
Right, I know.
Try and make up for.
Have you ever had to jump into your bathtub because of a tornado?
I actually was. So no, I haven't ever tried it, but I had a bathroom that was just, I always called it the Harry Potter room because it was under the stairs. And
your safe space.
That bathroom was where we would go if there was a tornado warning on our area. But just a few years ago, I was driving down a road in my city, and my phone started going off. And I didn't even know I had an emergency system. It wasn't like an Amber Alert kind of thing. It was like rah, 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 rah.
Major, and like major alarm.
Tornado, take cover. And I'm like,
I had those,
literally doing this, and I looked over to the side right above an HEB, which is a big grocery store.
Oh yeah,
and there was a tornado. I mean.
Right next to you,
maybe a quarter of a mile, not just next to me.
Were there any
could just see it.
Cows flying? Like
there were not. I didn't say we have cows.
we got cows. We got cows. Oh my gosh!
But
that's so scary.
That makes me remember. That makes me think of Oklahoma.
Right.
Where
that's
my
so
sister
scary.
lived. It seemed like I was calling my sister all the time, going, "Another tornado! Another tornado!"
I know. Well, and then my luck. Both times I had one going on. I had some special events. So one was getting ready for homecoming. I was getting my nails done, and I was in Salt Lake City, but I was above the valley, and there were 2, and they took the roof off the Jazz Stadium. So I was getting ready for homecoming, and that was the first one. And then another one was in Georgia, and I was getting ready for some black tie event. I was in a gown, and I remember I had to get in the tub in my gown, and it had taken out a street a few blocks away from where I lived. It was like a whole thing. I was like, I'm late for the party, guys. Like I'm just like doing selfies in the tub. I'm like, this, like, what do you do? Like, you're trying not to panic.
A selfie with the tornado. That's what people would do today.
Flying cows in the background. It's like, what do you do? And then Georgia, they're not great with the planning. So I'm glad that you're helping Texas. But Georgia, not great with the planning. They don't have much going on for tornadoes and floods, snow. Forget it. They don't have plows. There was one.
Okay, no, we don't have.
No, we got stuck.
It snows very, very rarely.
It snows enough there that they should have equipment. Let's just say that. I got stranded at the airport once. I had to bribe someone from Michigan with like $300 to come get me. She's like, "Oh, I do this all the time. We're good." Came and got me. But then when I got home, no one would bring me food. There were trees that were down. I could get my car out. It was like it was a whole thing. Georgia does not plan, so it is important to have people in in your city that are working for you and thinking ahead of these things. It's important because when that doesn't happen, it's very obvious because people are stranded on the freeway and people are stuck in their homes and You know,
it is
scary things happen. People die.
In Houston. People are very used to hurricanes, but
sure.
I always say, so, we both lived in California,
right?
And I lived there for about 15 years in Los Angeles, and or Manhattan Beach,
right?
Okay. But
we've got the earthquakes over there.
But earthquakes, you have no warning. Tornadoes, you have no warning. I mean, they might say, it's conducive to a tornado, whatever. But the
hurricanes are lovely.
No. Earthquakes, I mean, hurricanes, they're coming.
Yes.
Right?
Plenty. Usually a couple days.
Stay, you should be prepared for the hurricane.
Sandbags
there are people in Galveston. My mother lives in Galveston, but she always leaves. But that will not leave. They were born on the island. We call them BOIs, and they refuse to leave.
That's what happened with Katrina. That's why a lot of people died that didn't need to, or they couldn't get out for whatever reason.
Right.
But they had days, like they had days notice, they did. But were you in California? I think we had a really bad earthquake happen. I want to say it was like either 88 or 89. Did you live there then?
91.
Was it 91?
Northridge quake?
There was one that was so big, I bounced out of bed. I remember I bounced onto the floor, and the china cabinets fell. It was like a whole thing.
Is this like the weirdest thing? So it was my brother's birthday, January 17th, 1994. I'm sorry, 94.
Okay.
And the Northridge quake. Yeah. And we lived in Manhattan Beach, so we were very south of LA.
Right.
And my best friend had flown out, and we actually were here in Phoenix.
Oh.
So our kids were in LA with the nanny, and my ex-husband was working on a film in Phoenix, and we had flown out here, and the earthquake hit at like 5:00 in the morning.
Right.
And my sister-in-law from Texas called and woke us up and said there was an earthquake, and we're like, oh God, we're jumping up and we're frantic because she's calling us, right? And she goes, I've already talked to your nanny, everything's fine. And we're like,
how
why are you calling us? No,
right? Yeah. No,
everything's fine. Okay,
Yeah.
So, but of course, we lived very far south, right? Northridge was probably 40 miles away,
sure.
And so we go back to sleep, right? Well, we call the nanny, and then she says, I love that y'all are so loved, but I'm going to be happy when nobody calls anymore to find out, nobody calls anymore to see if y'all are okay, Well, my middle daughter was about 3, and she woke up and she said, my bed is walking, and then apparently went right back to sleep.
Wow.
So, but the kids that were from Houston, of course, they'd never been in an earthquake before,
right.
But they didn't wake up. I mean, they said where we lived, maybe the dishes shook and a light bulb kind of shattered, whatever. But the nanny was happy when the electricity went off.
Oh, wow.
Because they do that to save electricity for the emergency services, and they turn off the phones, Yeah. And so the kids went outside and played. They had no idea, and they weren't old enough to.
Super effective.
Yeah. So
that's scary.
But we were terrified to be in Arizona, away from our children.
Oh yeah. It's not.
So I told my sister-in-law, if they tell you LAX fell to the ground, I live 7 miles from there. So. And she calls back and she's like, they closed LAX, and we're like, but they have to walk the runways to make sure. Yes. I mean, they physically walk them to make sure there's no cracks or anything.
Oh, yeah, because that's dangerous for landing,
I
right?
laugh because it looks like a piece of machinery. You remember when you're a little baby and you have those bubble things that pop, pop, pop?
Oh, yeah. It was like a fake little vacuum you push the bubbles in it. Yeah, I remember those.
Little face, and so kind of something like that reacts to the ground. And so while you're going over a bump, then it would pop if there's bumps or whatever.
So I didn't realize that. So they've got to really keep up with the paving on the runways. How big of a crack would be a problem? How big of an unleveling?
That'd be a question for my husband. But.
Yes. Yeah. Where's the pilot?
I have to say that totally changing our subject, but people always say, okay, in a movie, there's always the flight attendants have to take over because the pilots.
I asked you that. I said, did you fly here? Did you get here faster?
And I'm like, nobody wants me to fly a plane. I never played video games as a kid. That hand-eye coordination is not something I was a gymnast. Right. My body, I can do stuff with. Put something in my hands, I'm a complete.
Well, idiot, and it's a weird thing because it goes this way. It's not like a car steering wheel.
It's not intuitive to.
No,
I have no idea. And people will ask us questions about flying planes, and I'm like, I have no idea.
I want to take some flight lessons, but the terminology is totally different. It's like yaw and pitch or something. I have no idea.
Well, sometimes people will say, "Do you think that happened before the point of no return or something?" And I'm like, I have no idea.
That sounds very intimidating.
Yeah. I was like, I have no idea. But
wow.
So people will say that, what would you do if you had to land the plane? And I say I would get on the microphone and I would ask for a teenager who plays video games.
Wow.
Because they've probably played some kind of flying game and they probably have more of a.
It's probably similar. Exactly.
More of some kind of a hand-eye coordination that would do that. Because
exactly.
So I'm very good in an emergency.
Sure.
I'm very level-headed, but I am not your girl for flying the plane.
Now, do they give you?
My husband's a hero.
Yes, absolutely.
Because he can fly plane.
For emergencies, do they give you any kind of course? Like, let's say, hypothetically, let's say both pilots have some sort of problem. Do they give you any kind of? They don't. I thought they did. So that they show in the movies, and then you know how to fly it upside down.
We don't.
Unless you're Denzel Washington, it doesn't happen.
I'm not sure you could fly a big plane upside down.
Denzel did it.
Denzel, I know, drunk or high or something.
He sure was. Right. Lots of cocaine.
But also, no pilot would ever do that.
Really?
Wow. Because they're so
great movie.
They want their jobs. First of all.
I remember the name. Of course, it's called Flight. It's a great. If you haven't watched Flight, great movie. Not before you take off though, because it's scary for
movies that are funny. What is the movie that was about Sully that landed on the
on the Hudson.
Tom Hanks on it.
That was good
and they
too.
keep asking him over and over and over. The NTSB does that movie. Well, they. I was watching that movie in my living room by myself one night.
Just for funsies,
just like laying down on the couch.
Let's watch a plane crash film.
Sure. Yeah, it's like going, so I'm laying down watching it, and you have flight training, or we have emergency training every year. So you learn it at the beginning, and then every year you open the emergency doors with the slides. You do different scenarios. You do CPR. You go
Stay
over
fresh
that every year. So it's just embedded in you. So I'm like just watching. So if you had an emergency, there's certain commands that you yell, right? And so in the movie, the plane lands on the Hudson and they start yelling their commands, and I sat straight up and started yelling my commands in my living room while I was by myself. It was just a natural reaction. They started yelling. I sat up and started yelling, and I go, "That is funny that you're." My training just kicked in because I heard those commands and I just was like, come this way out, leave everything, and it was just funny that it is ingrained into your brain.
Well, and they make things a lot more accurate now than they used to. But I have to say, part of what got me through chiropractic school was watching a lot of Grey's Anatomy and Scrubs. So I kind of did the other way around. I'm like, I don't need to read this. I'll just watch a few episodes of House, But it's true.
Although House almost always kills the person before they cure him.
It's always something extreme.
2 minutes before they die, and then they're like, I found this miracle.
I went non-invasive for a reason. I work with animals now. I'm an animal chiropractor, so if anyone needs to have their horse adjusted, or their chickens, or their dogs, call me.
I bet you didn't even know that was a possibility, did you?
The whole thing. And I trained in Texas, which is kind of fun. I was working with the horses, and that was very warm. I got to tell you, considering how hot it is, your hair always looks fabulous. I was not.
And you were in Dallas.
I was in Dallas.
Houston is
worse, right?
Well, it's hot and humid.
Oh yeah.
So it's wet.
You got off the plane, it's like a smack in the face. It's like, wow, we're here. It's like Georgia's like that too.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Lots of. I do well here. It's very dry. My hair is, usually cooperates. It's a good climate for me. It's a good climate. Considering I stay inside, I shouldn't complain so much. But
it's kind of funny how hair changes, with the I'm an 80s girl. I have to date myself there. Well, big hair was popular in the 80s.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm bringing it back in.
This is what my hair looks like. This is what my hair looks like when I get out of the shower.
Really?
My hair is so straight that,
nice.
I can hardly curl it.
Really?
So like in the 80s, I was getting perms, trying to give body to my hair, anything to give me some body.
I want to see the pictures. Do you have any glamour shots?
I think I did with my mother get one glamour shot.
We do the hand on the shoulder.
I was standing behind my mother.
Was your hand on her shoulder? It was like, those are your options, your shoulder or someone else's. It was like, remember Olin Mills? Do you remember Olin Mills? Was that like a thing?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my husband didn't know what that was. And I'm like, that was like a mall portrait thing. And then you do the little hand on the shoulder pose.
I think my uncle was a photographer, so we mostly got like Christmas pictures, and my uncle would do them. So I
Olin Mertens
family portraits.
That's cool.
We did like family portraits at the mall, like never.
Fun.
you know. Yeah. But I think I did that for my mom's gift. But I just think that hair is funny because you know, there are times when like straight hair is popular. So right now it's great because straight hair is a thing, so it works for me. Yeah. But when it starts to be curly again, then I'm going to be out of luck because. Wow, yeah, that changed. Styles changed. I got to tell you, ladies, do not mess with your eyebrows because the skinny eyebrows were big in the 90s. So I used to have eyebrows like Brooke Shields, and I tweezed them to death, and they were gone. Then I had to get them tattooed back on, which did not go well for me. Didn't really work. And then they big eyebrows are back, and then it's skinny again, and then the styles are just don't mess with your eyebrows. They don't come back. Leave them alone. Just leave them alone. I mean, you could do the tattoo thing. It did not go well for me. It was like 6 hours. It was not supposed to be painful. It was painful. It was painful, and they peeled right off. It was not for everybody. Let me just tell you. And then a lot of the trends are coming back where it's like 80s are back in. So in my neighborhood, these boys that are like, I don't know, they must be high school. They look like kids to me, but they're high school boys, and then they have mullets. The mullets it's so gross. Mullets are back. They were never good. Why? Never good. Yeah, we have. I mean, you can't say they were never good. Look at musicians in Nashville from the 80s. I mean, every talented musician in Nashville
or hockey player. I guess.
Sam, I'm gonna have you watch this later. I have a friend that is a musician, and I think he had a mullet till the 2000s.
Oh, so he's really holding on. By now it's back. So do you keep it forever?
He should have. Wow. He should bring it back.
And in Miami, Oklahoma specifically, the women have them. Not the most glamorous town, I have to say. Angie, I told you this in the car. I felt like a 9 there. You know what I mean? Like a 9 out of 10. I was really rocking it.
I think you were a 10 out of 10.
I might have been. I mean, I felt famous in that town, so I might go back just for a pick me up.
I mean, if you wore that outfit there,
right?
You walk down and they're like going paparazzi.
Well, I forgot. I thought I was doing a game show today, but we were just doing a talk show, so I was a little overdressed.
I said I feel a little underdressed. I didn't get the memo.
Do you want to buy a vowel? Yeah.
Okay. You know what? Have you ever seen Vanna White in person?
Oh, yeah. Not in person, no.
So there are some people that look better on television than they do in person.
I look better on Instagram than in person.
Well, there are some people they're very photogenic and they look fabulous.
I'm better in pictures for sure.
You know, but no, you don't. But I think that I've met 2 women that I thought were more beautiful in person.
Really?
And Vanna White is one of them.
And was I the second?
I'm
kidding.
Well, no, you look both.
I'm kidding.
You're very photogenic.
So Vanna White is prettier in person.
Vanna White is prettier in person.
Oh, nice.
Then her skin is fabulous. One of my friends was a producer on The Wheel of Fortune.
Okay.
And so we went out and saw her one time. She actually married Johnny Carson's son or nephew or something.
Really? Huh.
But then and then there was this show in the the late 90s called Step by Step.
I remember that. Yeah.
And so my best friend in California, her son played JT.
Oh, Brandon, he was cute.
Call. Yeah, he was.
He also briefly had a mullet.
Maybe kind of.
I remember him. Well, his dark hair, his spiky hair.
No, his cousin Cody that lived in the driveway.
Mullet.
Cody lived in the driveway. Was his cousin, and they played off each other very good.
They were
comedic.
Cute. JT was a cute little cheeks. Yeah,
he used to be Hobie on Baywatch. He was the original.
I remember. He was cute.
He was so cute.
Yes.
Anyway, so we did a movie called Blind Fury. Actually, my first husband. That's the movie we got married on, and so. There was a girl named Karen on the show. I can't think of what her real name was, but that was her. And they always had her looking in a mirror, and she was always playing very pretty,
Karen,
right? You know, and which was not a term then yet. But
she complained a lot.
She was the most beautiful child I have ever. Well, she's a teenager at the time.
Wow.
I mean, translucent skin. She just was gorgeous. And like on TV, you'd go, "Oh, she's pretty," but why did they make her be so beautiful? Because in person, that girl is just stunning. Nice. You know. Yeah. But then sometimes you see actresses, and you're like,
"Wow." Well, yeah. I had mentioned this before. I went to Park City High School, and so that's where the Sundance Film Festival is, and so I met a lot of celebrities. A lot look the same as you would think in person. And then there was only one that I felt really bad. He did not look well, but at the time he was sick and he was using drugs, and that was Macaulay Culkin. And I saw him outside. He was right outside my window and I was at this spa.
Stalking you?
No, it was the bushes. No, I used to work in spas, and I was in the like resort industry when I was before I went to college, and so that's what we did in Park City. And he was right outside the window, and I almost didn't recognize him. He just looked skeletal. He must have been, I don't know what to compare it to it with men, but like a women's size 2, like that thin. And he just looked really, I didn't recognize him. And he looked, when we were that thin and unhealthy, I mean, he looked like he was like 30 years older. And I didn't recognize him. Now he looks great, and he's so.
I did see him on Jeopardy the other day.
How did he look? He looks good. Isn't he married with kids now, and he's healthy? I
don't know about kids, but he did talk about his wife, and
he
talked about his wife.
I love that because
like
I saw him when he was not a good point. Yeah, that's
he
so
looked
nice.
Great, and he was very smart
and healthy. Yeah, that's great.
He did great at Jeopardy.
That's cool. That's an intimidating show. I would have done really well with like Cash Cab. Like that would have been my show.
Oh yeah.
Not Wheel of Fortune. I'm not great with that. It's a lot of pressure. I feel like, and then Jeopardy's a little tricky. I don't like sports or history stuff, and
you have to be so smart with Jeopardy because it's everything from biblical to
world
political.
History. Yes, it's
My dad was a genius, and he played Jeopardy every day, twice a day, like at midnight and 4 o'clock.
Loved it. Yeah.
And he passed away about 9 years ago. But the night before he passed away, at midnight, he still played Jeopardy, and he knew every single answer except for a pop answer was about
culture?
Madonna.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, and that was the only one he missed, and that was probably the only one I knew.
That's true.
Like a virgin, Dad. It's Madonna,
right?
Yeah, how could you not know that?
Okay.
But
and we've got this running family joke because my family was on the Family Feud, and I was
my best friend's family.
And I was too young to be on it at the time. But my brother and my uncle were rocking a mullet because this was like early 90s. And I was too little to be on it. I think I was like 11 or 12. And I think I had to be like 15 or something.
Oh, okay.
And we lost. And it's like the family joke because the question was so easy. The question was, what activities do you do on a cruise? And my uncle said sleep. And we lost that one. And then another one was, so I remember it. We got it memorized because we're so pissed that we lost to this other family. The other question was, what if you walk in on your child watching pornography, what do you do? And it was like answers like turn off the TV and that kind of stuff. And somebody had said spank them, right? Well, okay, that answer's already been given. And so it was my grandfather's turn, and they're like, okay, what would you do? And he said spank them. And like the answer's already been given. Would you like to say it again? And he says spank them. So we lost, but we had a year's worth of scented trash bags, baby clothing from Carter's, and a lot of chocolates because my grandfather figured out that he could keep saying, he was a really character, he kept saying that they had melted in shipment. And so he kept getting cases of chocolates. He was a piece of work. He used to tell people he was a doctor too. He'd say he was Dr. Hoppy. Like that was a whole thing. So hopefully now he knows that I actually really became one, but he would tell people he was a doctor. My family's very interesting. Hopefully you'll meet them someday. But game shows it's a lot of pressure, I think, when you're live on television and you're just put on the spot and people blank out,
Well, even if you're good at it, like we played, like I said, Wheel of Fortune at home.
Right.
We'd watch it all the time.
Right.
And when I went into labor with my first daughter, I left my parent to go to the hospital. My parents are like, we'll see you after Wheel of Fortune. I'm like, really?
It's very serious.
Wheel of Fortune? I mean, they were into
really
it.
into it. Yeah.
But when I lived in LA and I said my friend was a producer, I got, you get an audition, you can go in. And the first thing you do is take this test. It's kind of like Hangman, right? So it's on paper.
Was this for Wheel of Fortune?
For Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, okay.
So you're like it's like a so it's a flat piece of paper, and it'll have like a couple of letters on it, and they want you to fill it out. Well, say the example was there were 2 I's or something. No, 2 E's. 2 E's, which were just in the first word and not any in the second word, and that was it. That's all you had, and you had to answer it. Right. Well, it was engagement ring.
Oh,
but I mean, it was 2 E's, and you're like,
sure, right? I'm not good at that game.
No idea.
It's not my gift.
You didn't get to ask. You didn't get to ask for more letters, right? You're just taking the test to see how you could visualize. And I'm like, but it was a whole different game,
sure,
because you're not asking for letters. It looks weird because it's just a piece of paper.
They would not have picked me, or maybe they would have because I would have.
Funny, I haven't thought about the game,
right?
hangman for a long time.
I know.
You know, we used to do that.
I
don't even know the rules anymore.
I tried to get all the girls on that game show when we did the pageant. When we did the pageant on America Says, and I tried to get a bunch of the beauty queens to do that with me, and they totally wanted us for the show. And the only reason we didn't do it is because the owner of the pageant didn't want us to do it because they were kind of making light of it because they were having the beauty queens up against the drag queens. Now I was all for it. I thought it was gonna be hysterical and fun, and I wanted to see who was more glamorous. They just would have been a lot taller, but I thought it would have been funny. But she was not for it because that's like it's branding and whatever. Yeah. I thought it was gonna be hilarious. So I wish we would have done that, but they did pick us for the show, but we didn't get to go on America Says. But maybe we'll do it again.
What I think funny is that the things that we learn, the little tricks of how to, nowadays everybody wears fake eyelashes, right? Sure. I mean, they get them done, and they're so long. I mean, I was like going, you can't even hold them up.
Jill Kimmel literally told me I look like Lamb Chop. You know that puppet? Jimmy Kimmel's sister Jill. Yeah, she says I look like Lamb Chop, and I'm okay with it. Hi, Jill. I wake up, I'm ready to go, though.
Yeah, but like in the 60s, fake eyelash is very popular.
Yes.
And nowadays it's nothing. You're like, people take out their extensions and then put them aside and then just
throw them out the window
while everybody's sitting here. It's like something that you're hiding anymore. They have the extensions and they take them out. It's a normal process of life to have fake eyelashes, fake fingernails,
all the glam.
But there was a guy at work that he did a drag show, and I was like,
they got like couch cushions for butts.
How do you do your eyebrows? Way
all up there, like Liza Minnelli.
He was like, put Scotch tape over their their natural eyebrows,
really,
and then they would do the like white
paint all the tricks
over them, and then draw the things. I was like, going, well, that's interesting. Like, I have no eyebrows.
That's how I first started learning how to contour, was watching some drag queens. I'm not gonna lie, it's amazing what you find on YouTube. I think we're almost out of time. How can our viewers find you? Because I know that you are running for the city council. So how can they follow you or find you?
Well, it's Ange Mertens, just spelled A-N-G-E.
I love that. A-N-G-E.
Okay, I have to say, so people remember. So my name is Angela, right? Okay. When I left LA, I left it out of my name.
Okay.
So A-N-G-E.
Oh,
I
that's
don't know
cute.
where people put that I.
A-N-G-E. Right. I love that.
And then it's Mertens, M-E-R-T-E-N-S. You can find me on Facebook.
Okay.
That's the best place. Sure. I have a Vote for Ange Mertens on Facebook as well.
Do you have little shirts or hats? Because I wear one. I'll wear it here for you.
We'll send you one.
I don't know if it'll help, but I'll wear it for you.
Yeah, I love it. It'll help. It'll be great.
Oh, you're so